Welcome everybody to our Kuwasha Coffee Group. Got myself, Sean Dahl here, and Jeff, and we're like randomly 10 minutes ago, we're like, we should do a Zoom call quickly. Hopefully we can do this in 5-6 minutes to you all and say, hey, this is what's going on with Kuwasha and coffee, and this is what you guys' donation has caused, and this is where coffee is at, and this is what's coming in 2025. I'm gonna try not to commandeer this entire call. Jeff, you're gonna have time to talk, I promise you. But so if we kind of think about Kuwasha, if I just do give a really quick recap here, we're on 30 odd years ago. We got a bunch of orphan kids and then we're feeding them, and but you realize, okay, well, you can't just feed kids because eventually you got to do something. So then along comes the Chivali school in Kuwasha and educating. So now we're educating kids, and a while goes later, you're like, hey, these kids are sick all their time because they're in one of the poorest communities on earth. So you can't just educate kids if they're sick, and you can't educate them if they're sick, so you build a hospital. And then you realize, well, you can't expect them not to be sick if they drink swamp water. When you're down there, you'd almost puke when you see what they drink, which is literally swamp water. So then you're putting in clean water wells so that they cannot be sick, so that they can be educated. And then you realize, well, if you're eating this dry white corn maize flour that's got no nutrition basically and just some energy in it, well, you're going to be sick always, even if you have clean water. So then you teach them how to do healthy gardens, and then their nutrition goes up, and then they feel better, and then they can get educated. And then you realize, well, geez, we're going to be always be paying for this if we don't put something in place to help you guys with the revenue. So coffee comes along as a means to help pay for the hospital, to employ people there, to give them seedlings so they're growing coffee themselves that Kuwasha can buy back from them. They're almost like creating little mini entrepreneurs and creating jobs and creating a sustenance to kind of be like, this entire thing works. So the whole machine is working right now, thanks to you guys and thanks to Jeff and Shannon on the ground there for 17 years. So we just wanted to say thank you so much. So, Jeff, if we're kind of give a summary for 2024, what's gone on specifically with coffee? Like how much coffee's out there, what's in the ground, and what's coming?
Yeah, exactly. So like Sean said, thanks so much. To date, we have 52,394 plants in the ground. So that's exciting. That's on about 120 acres or so. We've got about another 30 to 40 acres of planting scheduled for 2025. So some of that tractors are rolling in February, March. We're waiting for some certain weather things to occur so that we can start planting the rest of that coffee. So we're really excited about that.
And we got 130 coffee members now, 131, 130.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all you guys are 10,000 bucks each. So that creates $1.3 million. So that's super cool. So that's bought the 185 acres that we have on 5 different coffee plantations right now.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah.
All within a 1 to 2 hour drive of Kuwasha, some of it
Yep.
being right in the backyard, some of it being a little bit distant.
Yeah, exactly that. So yeah. So about an hour and a half drive to our furthest one. That's about a 65 acre plantation. But the nearest one, which is about the other 120 acres, is all very close to us in our backyard.
So, yeah, so we got 185 acres purchased and we got 130 acres planted roughly.
Yep. Yeah.
And the rest is going in the ground when?
We hope 2025. So we might stretch some into 2026. It's all weather dependent because we only want to plant during one season per year, which is right when it's about to start raining. So if the weather cooperates and the guys get everything done, by the way, there's about 110 people working on the farm on a daily basis, which is pretty exciting. So they work pretty hard, but we hope to have this other 30, 40 acres planted in the next 40, 50 acres planted in the next year or so.
So of the total, we got 55,000 plants in the ground. Is that right?
That's right.
And how much of that is growing coffee already?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's the most coffee's coming off of about 5,000 of those plants. That's a very early plants. Remember when we used to talk about that hill in the back that we would point to? That was that hill. And there's only about 5,000 plants up there. Those are about 4 years old at this point now. And they're starting to produce some significant amounts of coffee. But the rest is just brand new. Like in the last year or so, like out of that 53,000, 85% of it is tiny. It's not producing anything yet.
I think those plants in the ground was at September 21 was when those ones went in the ground. So we're just this past September, we just passed the 3-year mark.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, 3 years. Yeah. So
So to kind of get to the point, so most of that coffee is coming from that first plantation. And what was interesting is from the coffee last year, 2023, to this year, 2024,
mhm,
we did 10 times the amount of coffee. So we
that's right.
went 10x. And then next year, I think we're going to 5x and hit 25,000 kilos next year. Is that what we're on track for?
That's our goal. So we want to hit 25,000. Then when we start filling containers filled with coffee, that's when, you become a player kind of in the market in Uganda, is being able to sell containers worth of coffee. So our hope is to fill one next year. That's
So
our first year.
it's happening. It's happening. It's happening. So what was really cool is I was in Uganda this year with a number of our coffee members that came down with us, Jay and Catherine and Joseph, and so great to have you guys down. You guys, I really encourage you to get down to Uganda with us. We got a number of trips happening. There's a spring trip. There's an end of June trip. There's an August trip. There's a September trip. But when we went down there this year, and then when we're meeting with people who are growing coffee just like us, they start planting bees in around their coffee to increase production. They start putting macadamia nuts in around their coffee to help increase shade cover and revenue from another source that's right around there, kind of killing two birds with one stone, plus reinvigorating more nitrogen back into the soil. So all these ideas that the group of us are down there, we're kind of discovering while we're down there with Jeff. So
Yeah.
a fulfilling way to go down and not just kind of observe from the distance, but be a part of it a little bit as well. And you guys, Jeff, down there, I still can't believe you're running the Timothy School, the Kuwasha School, you're running the hospital, you're running the whole Thrive Gardens, and you're running the coffee plantation. So you are a busy man. Let's talk Thrive Gardens for a little bit. So coffee's rock and rolling, and thank you for all your members that join us. What a fun way to do events. But Thrive Garden, because again, if people can't eat well, they can't think and do life and be educated well. So what's happened with Thrive Garden?
Yeah, so it's been a good year for us. We went into the year wanting to train and equip 360 people at home to start their own Thrive Gardens, and we did that. So, again, thanks to a lot of people in the coffee group that helped with the funding for that. 360 people at home are now growing different kinds of vegetables, and that's their family. That's 360 families, but some of those families are 6, 7, 8, 9 people at home. So it's a big number of people that are now eating
So
better.
probably 2,000 people just from that, and that costs about $80 to train one family, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
this is 365 people. What is that, 50 grand or something?
yeah, it
That
was
was a
four.
one-time investment that not only helps them eat better, but they can sell their leftover vegetation. And some of these people are making a year's wages out of selling their one-time vegetation. But at the same time, you were able to train up five other schools and put in five mother gardens into other schools. And what's interesting, what happens is when people's nutrition gets better and some of the herbs that they grow, their malaria goes down. We've seen what, a 95% reduction in malaria in just Kuwasha schools in Jabali.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, exactly that. So
So we were seeing, I don't know, numbers I was seeing is before we started this project, 120, 130 cases a month of malaria happening.
yeah, I mean, 77, 101, 80, those kind of numbers per month. And this year our numbers are 6, 5, 1, 3, like in the first 4 or 5 months of the year. So
How many cases would they have right now going on?
in Uganda right now, or sorry, in Chibali right now, we had 2 cases of
Two.
malaria last month. And in a
Had you
normal month would have been 40, 50, 60, somewhere in there. So it's
unreal.
yeah.
And you've had malaria a couple times, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
What's it like?
It's not great. No. So it's it's horrible. It knocks you out for a number of days, and there's no way a young person could go to school and study. So I mean, that's what it all boils down to is lost days in the classroom.
Hey,
So
and you lived there 17 years nonstop, whatever. Have you ever had a visitor that's come down, like a guest come down that's got malaria?
oh no, no, zero times. So no,
So like if I go down there, my odds of getting malaria is super low. But I
I
mean, you live down there nonstop, you get sick for a couple of days. What does it happen? One, two, three times in your life?
yeah, 5 times for me. But I mean that's 17 years. So one time every three, a couple of years. So and it hasn't happened.
Anyhow, the reality is we're sleeping indoors in a pretty nice ground with mosquito nets. They're sleeping outdoors pretty much.
Yeah.
And they're getting eaten all night. And that's why the average person gets malaria so much. But it's come down 95% with the health program and the herbs that they're drinking that they're growing in their backyard. So super, super fun. So from you guys that had invested in, I know a lot of you guys thought, we're like, you know what, if I put $1,000 into 12 Thrive Gardens, that'll train 12 families. It's probably 100 people. And it's not like I have to reinvest into that next year. They just keep doing the same thing again, and they teach and train their neighbors because they like how it tastes, they like how they feel, they see their malaria dropping. It's such a great investment. So, we're involved in coffee because it's great, it's got sustenance. We're involved in the Thrive Gardens because it's just contagious and it's healthy and it's natural and it's amazing. And for you guys giving in, we kind of think into 2025 and we go, Jeff, what's happening in 2025? What are the projects? What are you guys' needs? Because I know some of us are thinking, I'm going to give money somewhere. I gave money once into coffee. Do you guys need anything? Or are you in the red? Are you in the black? Are you covered? Are you just tell us?
Yeah. So, I mean, the core thing we do is education, and a lot of our students rely on sponsorship to cover the cost of them going to school. So we're finishing 2024 in an okay financial position, but we're worried about going into 2025, if I'm being honest, because we are short a great deal of sponsors for kids. So about 100 kids of ours don't have sponsors this year, which is going to, mean that Kuwasha is going to have to cover the cost of those kids to be able to go to school, to be able to keep them in school. And when we talk about being in school, that's including food, that's their health care, because like Sean said, you can't educate kids that are hungry and sick. So we have to provide those things if we want to provide a school. So the hit that's we're going to have moving into 2025 is somewhere between $70,000 and $100,000 to keep these kids in the school for the year. And that's a
So
bit of stress for us.
so currently Kawashi's going to pay for that
Yeah.
because they don't want to just kick the kids out. But reality is people sponsor their kids all the way to grade 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And
Yeah.
then they sometimes the kids kind of move on. Sometimes they go to secondary university. And then sometimes the sponsors drop off. And then a whole new grade 1 class comes in and they're not sponsored. So,
Right.
hey, thinking if you guys have any interest in sponsoring a kid or two or three or another kid or two or three, it's $40 a month. So not going to rock your world, but a fun way to make a direct impact. Plus, whenever you do come down to Uganda one day, you're able to meet your kids and their families, and it's far more impactful. So encourage that. But at the same time, some of you guys got corporations and you're like, we could sponsor 10, 20, 30, 40 kids through my company. And my company could just cover that. I mean, you've had company cover as how many kids at once before?
Yeah, we have a company that covers about 20, 25 kids right now. So yeah. So it's something we
So
do constantly.
an idea as well, but we'll have a shortfall between somewhere between 65, 70, 80 grand just to cover these kids because the sponsor dropped. So if you guys want to sew into something, there's an area that you guys can sew in to say, hey, let's sew into some kids, let's sew into some Thrive Gardens. And on a project scale on 2025, we kind of look forward. We've expanded Chibali by a dormitory. One of our coffee members came out this year, was like, I love what you guys are doing. Can I expand and put in a dormitory? Can I cover that 50 odd grand? Was that right?
That's right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and thanks so much. But that's gonna have how many kids now? Gonna happen
Yeah.
because of
I mean,
that.
that's space for another 120 kids that will be able to attend the school. So, that's again, I want to always circle back to that. We just want to help kids get through their education because we believe that's that cycle to get them out of that poverty. So,
And we had another coffee member reach out and say, "Hey, can I cover that water well system? Because you guys desperately need that." And there's like, "Hey, that was above and above their coffee was like, hey, I'm going to cover that. That was 10 grand." And then we had 6 more additional wells so far through coffee that we've put in to just
yeah,
help. And there's I don't know how many thousands of people would be getting water because of those 6 wells.
yeah, 10 to 12,000 people are accessing water that the coffee group has put in our community. So, I mean, that's massive.
So we would like to put in an additional dormitory. There's a few hundred kids that we would like to get education for that don't have it right now. So we kind of have a dream into next year of another ballpark $200,000. And if some of you guys think maybe, hey, I could do that myself, or maybe, hey, I'd like to be part of a group of 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 people. If it interests you, there's a project that we would like to expand on with some kids that don't have the education right now that we'd like to put in. So we're covering great things. We are in a good shape financially, and we have a bit of a 25 challenge in front of us. So hey, partner with us. Thank you for partnering with us so far. Looking forward to our Jan 24th Napoleon I'm going to say not Napoleon pizza event at the DeMaglia's house, along with our whole Italian crew. So that's going to be super fun. It's a Friday night, right? On the 24th.
I think
So
so. Yeah.
guys, come out to that, book it off. You will have the night of your life. And we got another bunch of fun events throughout the year. Ballpark every 3-4 months. I really appreciate you guys following us. This has been the absolute ride of our life, joining you guys in Kuwasha Coffee. Jeff, Shannon, thanks for everything that you guys do. You guys have literally given your whole lives. Been awesome.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Love
Thanks.
you
You.
guys.
Missed you all.
All right. Bye.